No, how did you know I was the one that you could marry at
20.
18 years old?
Oh, because we started dating at 18.
You was 18, babe.
Mm-hmm.
So we might kind of like skip
Snatching
around a little bit,
cradles.
kind of sneak a little bit of our story in with all of this too, if that's okay.
So I was 18. I was 19. I was 19.
You were 19 years old.
Yeah.
Let's just say
Because
19,
I remember
that
you
make
asked me
feel
how
better.
old I was, and I actually said I'm 19. I said you're gonna laugh,
Yeah,
but I'm 19. You remember when I said that?
19 sound better than 18. Cause what it was like the winter. So you had probably just turned
It
19.
was winter time.
It was like New Year's, like January.
Yeah, it had just yep.
Yeah.
And I was proud to be
When I
19.
shot my first shot,
That was not.
when I shot my first shot, she was 19.
That's
y'all.
when I allowed you.
No, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
No, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
No, ma'am.
That's when I allowed you.
You turned me down the first time.
That's what I'm telling you.
You was
I turned you down the first 2 times. Boop.
It was not.
Yes, sir. 2 times.
Man, you full of
You
it,
gonna
bro.
work for me.
Man, you ain't turned
You
me
gonna
down
work
no
hard for this money. So you better treat it right.
You ain't turned me down no 2 times.
That's the lyrics, right?
No, I don't even know what song you
You
talking
work
about.
hard for the money.
Oh yeah, so you
money.
better treat her right.
Yeah, so you better treat me right. You had to work hard for this money.
It wasn't twice.
Yes, it was.
It was 1.5.
Nope. No, sir. It was 2 times because the first time was when you was in that suit, posted up, and I was coming out the church.
I didn't shoot no shots.
But you called
when
me
I
that
had
night,
the
sir.
suit on.
You called me that night, sir.
That's the night I called?
Yes, sir. You called me when I was living in that hotel.
I thought that was the night I was just looking.
That was the night you was looking, and then that's the night you called.
I was observing. The territory. Plotting and planning on.
Yep. And
what was the next step?
And
I called you that night?
Sure did, because I had got back to the hotel.
I was desperate.
We was living in Katrina Hotel, whatever. And here you go. We was off Monk House, Pelican Inn.
Y'all was living in the Pelican Inn.
A rundown,
like some vagabonds.
Exactly, closed hotel that they opened up for
some New Orleans vagabonds.
For the New Orleans people. And you out here preying on my vulnerability.
For everybody that don't know, they were evacuated for Hurricane Katrina, and we were all in Shreveport, Louisiana. And
we had just got there because we was living in Alexandria for a little minute.
Yeah, they evacuated for Katrina, and about 2 weeks later, I think I evacuated for Hurricane Rita. And we both ended up in Shreveport because we both had friends in Shreveport, and she had a friend in Shreveport, and that's kind of like what brought us. I guess we can thank him for that, though, right? Now we can thank our mutual friend for bringing us both to Shreveport to meet each other.
God is our mutual, my Lord. Isn't it wonderful? God is our mutual friend.
It sounds like God a little bit.
If God be for you.
So that's kind of like the backdrop. We were everybody was in Shreveport for 2 separate hurricanes, and we were all in the same church organization, and we had previously met under different circumstances at a youth conference.
But see, I didn't know you.
We didn't really meet, did we?
You did you used to see me?
I used to see you and your little cronies walking around, but y'all was like some little kids.
Yeah, we was children.
Yeah, y'all was like some little kids, so I really wasn't checking for y'all.
But you used to see us though.
I used to see y'all.
And so,
but I had a girlfriend at the time.
No,
too.
I'm not saying looking like through the lens of a girlfriend. I'm just saying I remember you because you used to preach. And then we used to sit out. They used to have us in there for Brother Ronald. Used to be ripping and running across the front of the church. I remember that.
What I was doing, baby?
Ripping and running. You used to be ripping and running in the front of the church.
Man, this is all lies and garbage.
No, it ain't. That's what you used to be doing.
So all I was doing was ripping and running.
Ripping and running.
I wasn't saying nothing.
No, ripping. Your head would be up high.
Thank you.
And then when we used to get to the little walk. Remember they used to do that little walk?
Yeah, you used to do the prayer walk.
The prayer walk
with
baby.
Sister Vivian.
The New Orleans people, we used to be strolling in all late. Y'all be waking people up early to go to a prayer wall. Baby, let me sleep.
Man, let me tell y'all, these kids were so backslid at this youth conference, man.
Not me.
All the kids from New Orleans didn't want to be there, first of all, because they call it the ethnic camp.
First of all, that's what they told us. Okay.
They call it the ethnic camp.
That's what they called it.
Because all of them used to go to the main youth camp for the Pentecostal youth camp in Tioga.
We did.
So our youth camp.
But that's what they called it before it was
all black people.
Well, before it was the other thing, it was ethnic camp.
And so
you gotta say it like one word.
So the
ethnic camp.
The pink people that she used to go to church with at the main church.
Racist much?
Was, well, I don't know. I'm trying not to say white.
Oh. Just say our Caucasian brothers.
Our Caucasian brothers and sisters used to go to the main church that they were at in New Orleans. And at that church, it was common to call our youth camp the ethnic camp. Or the black youth camp.
They changed it. And we were just slow to change. We were slow to change. First of all, y'all used to cheat in the Bible Bowl. We all know that. They used to cheat. First of all, y'all used to cheat in the Bible Bowl. Every time. And you know what? You know how God be working out for you good? Because this whole time, we got Glenda. Shout out to Glenda Gibbs, who knew her Bible.
She didn't know it well enough.
Because she was by herself.
So none of the rest of y'all knew
the rest of us ain't really know that
no
much.
Scriptures.
But that Glenda, she knew her Bible.
That's not our fault that y'all wasn't versed
proof.
in the word.
No, y'all had the Bible Bowl questions.
That's not our fault.
Y'all had the Bible Bowl questions with Sister Vivian. Cheating. Y'all in here cheating on the Bible game.
Yeah, we did have the questions.
Cheat and geek. And now it comes to light.
We just use it as a study guide.
Man, we ain't had no study guide. How about that? Then we'll get in every
Y'all didn't have no word knowledge either, though.
Yeah, but it would have helped us to prepare because we wanted to win. So we come in there, used to be like, whatever.
We had Gabe and Christian, man. They was
cheaters.
They was extra Bible believers.
Cheaters. That's all y'all out here with the study guide. The study guide.
Bro, y'all just
baby, one day committed. Glenda came and took it home for the win. She helped us get a little something one time.
Glenda was committed. The Jones brothers was committed.
No. Don't lump them in the group. Don't put them in the same group.
Who?
Glenda and the Jones brothers. See, Glenda had to live that life without a study guide. My God. Them other two?
Well,
they lived a life with the study guide.
It wasn't for lack of trying to get the study guide out to everybody. But again,
well, let me ask you this.
Y'all's church was mostly unaffiliated with our churches.
So, but our pastors knew enough.
They obviously didn't know enough.
They knew enough to get, yes, they did. Because what stopped them from collecting our registration money?
There was no communication between
what stopped them from collecting our registration money?
Y'all didn't pay till y'all got there.
How you know what we did, sir?
Because I remember.
Use a lie. Because we did not. We paid. But see, that's what they used to do. They used to tell y'all could pay all before, and then they used to make us pay when we got there.
That's because
they treated us like second-class citizens.
Y'all weren't affiliated with our churches.
Division. See, this is what division started in the youth.
Because let me tell you why y'all weren't.
And then the young people grow up, and now we got divisions.
Because y'all called it ethnic youth camp.
That's
why y'all weren't affiliated.
No, that's not why we weren't affiliated.
We weren't even to us.
We weren't affiliated, not because of that reason.
No, to us, our youth camp was youth camp. That was the only youth camp we went to. But our youth camp to y'all was second rate. It was second. It was the lower youth camp.
No, it's not. We wanted to come to y'all's. That's why we stopped going to the other one. We wanted to come. We stopped going to the other
y'all stopped going to Tioga?
Yeah.
When?
The first year we went to y'all's.
For real?
Yeah, the first year we went to that one, we stopped going to Tioga.
That's good. That's a blessing.
We had always wanted to come to y'all's, but y'all treated us so bad.
We didn't treat y'all
bad.
Y'all
did. Y'all treated us like poo-poo.
And Baton Rouge and all the other churches in Shreveport and Natchitoches and all the other places that we were all connected because of Jubilee.
That didn't stop them from collecting my registration fee that I saved
we used to call
every year.
What we used to call the other service we used to go to, everybody used to come to?
Fellowship.
We all knew each other because of fellowship.
Y'all wasn't at fellowship. We wasn't invited to that. We wasn't invited to Jubilee.
Y'all wasn't at the Jubilee. Y'all wasn't at the fellowship. So we didn't really have no communication with y'all churches.
We really shouldn't have never really met.
Yeah, it wasn't nothing but the Holy Spirit.
We should have never met.
The Holy Ghost.
Don't try to rub my arm now, sir. I was a second-class citizen to you. I wasn't of royal birth.
Well, you was too young.
I was a commoner.
You was young and strapping.
I was a commoner.
Yep. You was a commoner though.
Okay, so back on the subject.
Where did we leave off at?
We left off with you saying how.
Oh, well, yeah, we was all in Shreveport.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you said I was stalking you at church.
No, yeah. So I
had that little green outfit.
I had that green with the green. I still got my shoes.
The little lime green outfit.
I can't fit up.
The tight little skirt
that your mama let you. Tight.
That skirt was tight, babe.
My skirt.
See, let me hip y'all to the game about how Pentecostal ladies.
Ooh, that skirt was not.
They
tight.
operate in holiness standards. But
let me fix my hair because I done got all worked up.
Because they can't wear pants.
I got worked up.
They can't wear pants and they can't wear jewelry and all of that good stuff. So where they bend the rules at is
y'all just wait. I'm gonna get him for you.
What they do is they get these little skirts that's too small for them, and they slide on into them little skirts. And they show all of their curves and stuff like that out. So that's what
lumps.
She was wearing this little
Lil Wayne called it lady lumps.
Lady lumps is what it is. She was wearing this little suit. It was like a skirt suit.
It's like a paisley set. It was the
paisley. I'll never forget.
It was gorgeous, but
I'll never forget.
It was not tight. It was brand new.
It was tight.
It was not tight. In fact, I had space.
I was seeing buns.
That's because you nasty.
And
because first of all, I barely had buns back then.
Such things. No, you had a little stack back then. You had a little stack.
I barely had buns. See,
today's
buns or put them days buns to shame.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Baby, put them to shame. Yeah, that was child's play.
Yeah, that
compared to today.
That was kids buns.
Oh, and that right there is the point.
That was
I don't understand. That means you was looking at kids' buns. So here we go.
Well, you was legal though.
Let's walk down the line of perms.
You was legal.
Let's walk down. We gonna walk the tightrope of perms.
I was a couple of years older, but I knew you was a nice prospect because I knew you had holiness
in my DNA.
In your DNA. So that's what I was looking for.
No, you wasn't.
It wasn't the outside.
Why you sitting there lying? You know good well you wasn't looking at that.
It wasn't the outer appearance.
It was her spirit,
if you will.
So here I am walking out the church because I had to do sign language for the Christmas program. It was Christmas. It was the week before Christmas.
Was I even in the service?
No.
I don't remember going to the service. I just remember pulling up.
You and your little friend was outside. And when I came outside, I seen him.
Yeah, why was we even there?
Why you think you was there? Huh?
Yeah,
why you think you was there?
Well, at that time, we didn't know.
I done got worked up again, folks.
At that time, we didn't know who was finna holler at you.
Baby, listen.
We knew one of us was. Somebody finna shoot their shot.
And that's why I knocked that ball out of every hand.
Somebody
that came after that.
Somebody was gonna shoot a shot that night.
So I walk out.
And shots did get shot.
Shots get shot and shot down.
Man.
Your leg was posted up on that church building.
She was playing hard.
And I went and got up in my mama truck. And when I got in that truck, I was so sad.
Why?
I was so sad.
You knew you had all these anointed young ministers after you?
I was like, look at these. I couldn't say.
The old N-word?
Yep. Look at these.
Yep.
And I got in the car and I was so sad because I was like,
why was you sad though?
I was sad because I was like, I think that was just when I had just found out what was going on. Like, because we had went to their church that Sunday prior.
What was going on?
And then
you talking about all the stuff we talked about?
Yeah, they engaged. They was engaged.
Oh, so you were sad. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was like, why would he come here? Like, why would And so then I was like, whatever. And I got in the car and I was sad. And then I got home. And then I was just like, nobody's for me.
And then you got hit up with that phone
call. I had lost all my stuff in Katrina. That was sad. Yep. I had lost all of this. And then we was living in Alexandria. And the only reason we had come to Shreveport was because of that reason.
And now you can't even get a preacher.
It wasn't about a preacher. It wasn't about a preacher. It wasn't even about the preacher. Because I could get whoever I wanted. It's just that. But I thank God that he opened my eyes.
So I didn't realize I called you that night.
You sure did?
But
Mm-hmm.
God had a ram in the bush.
Call me, and then you sounded like him.
That's what you call a ram in the bush, right there.
Baby, I almost punched that ram back. I'm like, now what this ram calling me for?
Yeah. Well, I didn't know, babe.
So, yeah.
I only knew parts and pieces of the whole situation and story, so you can't really blame me for all of that.
Anyway, past the.
We talked about this like 15 years ago.
I know.
So let's move on.
What part you trying to move on from? What part you trying to move on from?
You cute, babe.
I know. Thanks.
We trying to move on to the part where where we
met.
Yeah.
So then you called me.
Where we actually had a conversation that was civil.
So you called me that, and I was just like, I don't do this friend kind of stuff. And we got off the phone. And then you called me again around Thanksgiving. And then I was like, I think I told you, or I said, we just kind of like, it was a real quick conversation.
It was around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you text me and was like, just thinking about it.
It was a holiday.
Yeah, you had texted me and stuff, and I was just like, okay, whatever. And so then after that, you around Christmas time, you called and you was like, I'm seeing if we can go somewhere, go out, if we can meet up or something like that. Yeah. And then I was just like, I'll give it a chance to at least see what you're working with. So then we wound up going to the movies.
Once I figured out what I wanted,
you was giving yourself some time. No, you gave yourself some time. Yeah, I knew I had. I wonder what you was doing during that time. During that time that you first called me, and the time I said yeah, because it ain't no telling with you.
You don't want to. We don't need to go down there. Bro.
Yeah, that's exactly
what I was doing I was in previous relationships that I was trying to
work my way out
of at the time, because I knew that I had a Jones in my bones for you.
Yeah, a Jones in your bones, all right.
So
then
I was interested.
So, but the question is, how did you know? Because we wound up dating for like 2 years after that. A whole lot of stuff.
We finally hooked up, started dating, and all of that. And I'm gonna say about a year in. About a year in, I knew that I wanted to marry you. I don't even think it would have. I don't even think we needed to date another year, but we did. Just long enough for me to get my stuff straight.
Yeah, that was a sad time.
Yeah, we went through a lot, man, at that time. Lost the job and got kicked out of my house.
You didn't lose the job.
What did I do? I walked off the job. Is what I did.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I quit a job prematurely.
Of your own volition.
Of my own volition.
He did it.
Yeah.
I helped you.
No, it wasn't you. It was I had pastors in my ear at the time telling me they wanted me to be available to preach, and my job was taking me away from the pulpit.
Good job.
Yeah, I was working for the KCS Railroad. Okay, so I walked off that job in faith.
You did. You don't have to quote faith. You did have a little faith.
It was faith, but it was ill-informed faith. Kicked out my house.
Lost all your stuff.
Couldn't pay my rent.
Repoed vehicles.
Didn't have a pot to piss in, a window to throw it out. And I was trying to date this young lady and hopefully one day get married. But I knew I wanted to get married. I knew I could marry her at that about a year in. But I guess we started the video talking about how did we know? And that's a big question, man. That's a big question that I guess like a lot of couples, every couple that gets married has to go through the time where they ask themselves the question, can I marry this person? And a lot of times we're young, we're looking at, things that won't be important in 5 years, that won't be important in 10 years. And those are the things we typically make our decisions off of who we want to marry. Now, I will say this, having a relationship with God at the time, for me, was key. That's what saved me. Because nobody in church or nobody in leadership sat us down or sat me down and said, this is what you need to look for in a wife. Thank God I was raised up around a good man and a good woman who were married to each other. My mom and my stepdad. My stepdad, he's my dad. He raised me from he raised me from probably 2 years old all the way through, and so I got to see what a real man was, and I got to see what real love was towards a woman, and so I had that to base my decision off of, and I had the Holy Spirit to base my decision off of. And so all things were pointing in the right direction. I knew she was a woman of character. I knew I didn't have to worry about her, you know, being ratchet. Like
She ratchet?
I didn't. Well, you are kind of ratchet, but
Well,
I
but
didn't.
you meant like promiscuous or
Yeah, I
somebody
didn't.
that had
Yeah,
a background like that.
right. I didn't have to worry about you having like a million sex partners before we got together. Not saying anything bad about anybody that was had a past or whatever. That's fine. God is forgiving and God is loving. But that wasn't what I was looking for in particular. Maybe it's good for some men, but it wasn't good for me. And so I knew her past was okay. Um, most of all, I knew her relationship with God was good. I knew she had, and this is what I always tell people. I've always said this to people that's dating somebody or looking to date somebody and eventually get married. Um, I know that she's gonna treat me right, and I know she's not gonna do certain things based on how much and how deep her relationship is with God.
I'm just gonna fix my hair while you talk.
Because when you love Jesus, that tapers your now disclaimer. Not saying that people that love Jesus don't do crazy stuff, that don't go off the rails, and I'm one of them. Uh, I've made mistakes, bad decisions, all of that while loving Jesus. So, but this is what I'm saying is that it's certain things that you can take off your list. When you know somebody has a relationship with God, and so to me that was half the battle. Um, I guess, man, it was a lot though.
Well, because I think the thing that we had in common was that we didn't really stay with people. Like I would be in a relationship with
Yeah,
somebody, and
yeah.
then it was just like, um, okay, let me say this.
I was so ashamed of
I
that too,
I
man.
struggled to break up with people. I really did. I struggled to break up with people. And so I always, for the most part, was broken up with. And so I didn't really stay in relationships, not long, but enough to where I have built up enough gumption to
Right.
break up with to break up with guys. But then your story was you didn't stay with them long because you was the one doing the breaking up.
Well, yeah, I mean,
You were doing the breaking up.
yeah.
Hmm.
I was man, I could say a lot about that time in my life. I had been through a bad relationship where I was in a relationship with a girl for 5 years and I wanted to marry that girl, but she wasn't the one for me. And that relationship ended in a bad way, and I was real hurt, going through a lot of changes and stuff like that in the church. Um, and after that particular relationship ended, I just didn't handle things well, man. I didn't allow myself to be healed. I didn't allow God to help me to process through. I didn't allow God to, help me to process through my emotions. Instead, I just kind of, like people say, rebound relationships. I had a bunch of rebound relationships where I guess I was trying to, on one hand, I was trying to prove to that other girl that I could have a successful relationship without her. And on the other hand, I was still hurt. And so I was trying, I was just using these females to kind of like, and just unconsciously, not knowing, using these females to kind of like, instead of letting God heal me, I was trying to get healing from a person. And none of those relationships lasted because I just went into them for the wrong reasons. And I know that now, hindsight is 2020. And so I would get in a relationship with a girl, and then in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, literally like very short term, I would lose interest in them. Just almost just like automatically, I would just lose interest. And it was nothing wrong with the girls. It was all me. And after it happened, like about like the third or fourth time, I stopped looking at them and I started looking at me and was like, God, what's going on here? What's wrong with me? And just about that time was the time I was meeting her. I was meeting Unique at that point in time. And I really just had some soul searching to do, man, because I didn't want to continue down that same road. I didn't want to keep having relationships and having 3 weeks of a relationship, 4 weeks of a relationship, losing interest and moving on to another girl, And so I really had a real conversation with God. And I said, Lord, what's wrong with me? I don't want to be like this. I want to be in a lasting relationship. I want to eventually get married. And I said, God, you got to help me with this. And I remember God saying, as clear, and God have proven to me time and time again. I just told her this the other day. Might have been today. No, yesterday. God told me as clear as day when I had that prayer meeting that day. He said, son, if you stay with her, I'll break the curse on your life. And so I didn't even really understand what God was saying then, but I was about to break the relationship off between me and her because I was getting to that point. I was getting to past the 4 week, 5 week point, whatever it was, And I was really hanging on by a thread, and I just was like, God, help me. And so I made the conscious decision in spite of what I was feeling. I was feeling like breaking a relationship off, but I responded to God's word instead of how I was feeling. And as a result of that, me making a commitment in spite of how I felt, God began to deliver me from the issues that I was having as a result of that bad relationship. And it happened. It wasn't immediate. It happened through the process of time. But God is true to his word. When he tell you something, if he say he's going to do something, he's going to do it. You just got to do your part. So I guess to answer the question of how did I know that I could marry this woman, that's how I knew,
But I remember you saying, I know I want to be married to you or whatever. You said, and this is who I am. And then and so I used to try to do stuff to make him upset because I used to try to see like how he was gonna react because I was trying to vet him for like, okay, I'm married this person.
Crazy stuff too.
I gotta find out if he is abusive, if he just been hiding behind.
You almost found out too.
Behind the lens of, because men be trying to, dating is different than when you get married and stuff. I'm trying to get past the representative, and I knew we had been very normal with each other. It wasn't
good, babe.
Like a facade and stuff. It's good.
That's good.
But I was really just
beyond the representative.
Yeah, I was trying to find like who he was because the way I grew up, it was always like men were just, you would eat them up and chew them up and spit and swallow them, spit them out. You know what I mean? I don't know how the saying go. Chew them up and spit them out. And so, but I used to do different things to get him upset. So you want to tell the story one time I made you mad? I was trying to test you to see.
You talking about Bernouddi?
I ain't talking about him. I was talking about any one of them. That's the big one you remember though.
Man, no, I don't want to tell that story.
I'm going to tell him.
Go ahead.
So one time.
Because I'm still mad right now.
You can be mad. So one time, I had already tested him a few times before. I was trying to see if he was gonna get mad, if I was gonna get a rise out of him. Because I want
to ask you this though: Why would you play with my emotions like that?
Because I'm trying to see how you get when you get mad.
And I must
you
have
gonna
passed
cuss
the
me
test.
out. You gonna hit me. You gonna I wanted to. I was because I had already got
I've been known to choke before.
You ain't gonna choke me. You ain't gonna choke me. I might be this little compared to you.
I've been known to choke.
But I'm telling you. So
I ain't gonna hit you, but I might choke.
I had already like tested him already, like been throwing stuff at him and seeing, and I mean, I'm talking about real deal stuff. And the first he was so patient, and I was just like,
first you grab a dog, right. Then you
so
shake
then I would do it again, do something else, and he would. And I'm talking about just over the time of us knowing each other. And so then one time, the story he's referring to is
good old Benuti.
Okay, so I used to tutor this family. I used to tutor these kids. Their family owned a restaurant. And so I used to go to the restaurant to tutor the kids. And so while I was tutoring the kids, this guy pulls up in his black Cadillac, nice by the way, like, you know, a little nice Cadillac. And and he get out, and I'm tutoring these kids. Oh, look, your legs shaking and everything.
Yeah, because I do something to one of y'all.
I think I might have should have tested you a little longer. Coming on?
Mm-hmm.
I might have tested you a little longer. I should have.
That lash finna come smooth off.
That's all right. I'm gonna just pat him down. So
there you go.
So anyway, the guy came into the restaurant while I'm tutoring the kids, and he asked me what I was doing. I told him what I was doing. He asked me what my name was. I told him my name. He asked me where I was from. I told him New Orleans. He was like, "Oh, I'm from New Orleans too." And I was like, "Okay." And he said, "I'm an attorney or whatever, and my name is blah, blah." We're going to call him. Don't do that.
That's what we're going to do. We're going to call him by his name.
Don't do that. Satan. Okay. So he said, "My name is Satan." Okay. So here he comes in, and I was just like, you know, I have a boyfriend or whatever, and he was just like, "Okay, that's fine." And so he gave me his card anyway.
She didn't tell him he had no boyfriend.
I did tell him I had a boyfriend. I said, "I'm taking. I got a boo," and he was like, "That's you." Know, he just like glossed over it, and he gave me his card and stuff. Man. So I was just, you know, I'm still working with the kids and stuff like that. Moving on. So fast forward, we went to my mama's house. And he had came over, and we was in a tiff, like, cause
Who came over?
You came over to the house, and so I used to do stuff like I used to do stuff. I'm telling y'all to get a rise out of him, and so the guy, so Ronald had come over, and so we were already having some like we were in the middle of like not being on good terms, but I was like, this is the perfect time. So he came over. And I had just had Wendy's. Oh, you had a Wendy's Frosty.
Yeah.
And it was sitting on the table.
And then I was sleep deprived at the time too.
I don't think you were sleep deprived.
Well, it wasn't nothing but
you
God.
wasn't no sleep deprived.
It wasn't nothing but God that protected you on that day.
So I told him, I said, he was like, "Why you not answering your phone?" Oh, no, you had called me before. You had called me before you came over, and I was just like, "I'm on the phone with somebody. I gotta go."
I didn't even remember all that.
And so
I flashed out. And
then we got off the phone, and he come pulling up at my mama's house. So I let him in and everything. He came. He sat down at the table, the dining room table, and I was like, I'm on the phone. I was on the phone. I had to go out with so and so, and you was like, you mean to tell me you was on the phone with this guy? And I was like, yeah. He was like, so you saying you was talking to him on the phone? And I was like, yeah, I don't understand. This is me. I was like, I don't understand what your problem is.
She don't know.
We not married. We not engaged. I was like, I can have friends outside of you. What are you doing?
She don't know I was seeing red at the time.
And so
anything could have happened.
At this point, I was like, really like, I'm like, I got to get him all the way to the line now because I done like worked him up to it.
It's going down.
So they had that Wednesday. Next thing I know, that Wendy's Frosty cup went flying across the room. And then you got up and walked out.
You lucky your mama was in. That's who saved you. Barbara King.
What you was going to do?
Barbara King saved you that night.
You wasn't going to do nothing.
You lucky and I respected your mama. That's why I didn't.
You wasn't going to do nothing. What you going to do?
Babe,
what you was going to do?
I was seeing red. I probably would have turned that whole table over.
You wasn't going to do a thing.
Didn't I turn the table over?
No, you threw the
I threw something.
You threw the Frosty cup.
No, I took my anger out on the Frosty.
You slapped that Frosty cup across that table
I
so
had that
fast.
Frosty right now.
And
man, I hate wasting ice cream.
I felt so bad because I was like, now I gotta make him feel bad because I'm trying to test him, see if he gonna be a good fit for my kids.
Man, I ain't never seen nobody.
I had to make sure he wasn't gonna be hurting me and my children.
Emotions like this.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have no kids.
No, but I was we talking marriage. We talking marriage.
How am I hurt some kids? You don't even have no kids.
We talking marriage. If I have children, I got to make sure.
You was a baby mama.
I got to make sure that the kids that we would one day have didn't grow up in the house with a physical abuse.
So
thank me later.
You know,
you gotta be smarter than the average bear. You got to be smarter than that average bear.
I will say, when you get married, you don't really know.
That was you?
No. What?
Oh, that was your hand.
That's my hand. You don't really know what you're getting, when you get married.
No, you don't.
And I understand that's probably why a lot of people say, you need to go ahead and shack up or whatever. We don't really believe in that, whatever. But I understand what people say. Well, you gotta test drive the car before you buy it or whatever the case may be. But the statistics on that is exactly the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
What you would think it is. Marriages that begin in shacking, or what's the proper term for shacking? That's just what we call it.
I don't know. Living together before you marry.
Yeah, living together before you marry. It's something else. It's a word people use to describe it. But the statistics say those marriages have a higher rate of divorce than marriages that don't begin like that. For whatever reason, I don't really know. But I have my opinions, but I don't really know for sure why they don't last as long.
It's probably a myriad of reasons. But I remember just thinking, okay, once that happened, I think that was the last thing I did. After that was it. Because then I guess I was just kind of like, okay, like enough is enough.
Trying to figure out what you had.
I was just trying to like push you to the limit. I've
always been mild-mannered.
Yeah.
I've always been, slow to be in a confrontation. But sometimes that's been to my disadvantage because I've allowed people to pick and pick and pick and push and push and push.
I was picking.
Well, no, I'm not just saying just you.
I know just me. I wasn't picking on you.
I'm just saying in general.
I wasn't picking on you though. I had a purpose.
And the end result, when you're a person like that don't like confrontation, you kind of let stuff just keep building up and building up. And then when it overflows, the result is greater than what it should be. You might blow up on somebody and give them everything that you've been holding in from everybody else, and people don't deserve that. So since then, I've kind of learned how to deal with stuff as it happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
I'm still not confrontational though. Am I?
You're not confrontational with the masses. I think you're just honest, and it may,
Well, I try to be.
So, but okay, I don't think I answered the question. For me, I guess just hearing that this is who I am, that settled something in me. I don't know if I ever really thought about that, but that settled something in me when you said this is.
You never really thought about what?
I never really acknowledged that settled something in me.
Yeah.
When you said that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was, if you just based on the stories that I'm trying to explain now,
right.
I was always under the guise of I need to get to who he is. I need to get to the real person.
Yeah.
And
beyond the representative.
And so when you said that, because I trusted you.
I like that, man.
Then I was just like, okay.
I like that. That's good preaching right there.
Well, because some people actually will say this is who I am, and that's not really who they are.
Yeah.
So I had to find out.
People always do that.
Yeah, I had to find out. I was like,
people always do that.
Now, were there surprises when we got married? Oh my God.
It's always going to be some surprises.
It was a lot of surprises.
We're going to talk about some of them one day too.
Yes.
Maybe not today.
No,
maybe
not today.
But
But I'm just saying that the stuff that was important to me,
yeah,
I had
the
the
foundation was there
foundational things.
for
Certain,
me too.
those
Yeah.
things were
Yeah.
solidified
Yep.
before we got married. Now there was still foundational, some stuff that we needed to put a little bit more cement on or whatever. But for the most part,
sometimes the foundation be jacked up too, though.
Sometimes, but
sometimes
you can always rebuild.
Sometimes part of it is solid and part of it ain't solid.
Right. But it was just because it was certain questions or certain things I didn't know to ask when we were dating. Things I didn't know to look for, things I didn't know to just know. I didn't know, and
that's something a lot of people go through, I bet.
Yeah, and then I was young.
Not knowing, we were young. A lot of people get married young, and they don't really know. Like, we went through this little marriage counseling class at my church and stuff like that. But that class was very, very surface.
Oh, wow, yes.
It was super surface. I mean, looking back, we might have thought it was sufficient at the time. But looking back, I mean, man, it's a lot you don't know, man. We never talked about how we're gonna manage our finances. We never talked about you know, what's our philosophy on raising children?
How do you communicate?
How do you communicate effectively? We never really, those are things we had to learn the hard way. We had to learn by fighting.
Thank God you was able to communicate. And I know I'm veering off the path a little bit because I didn't know how, and I was so immature and stuff.
Well, you was young, babe.
I was.
You was young.
Still am.
I had way more relationships than you. Bring me some water, baby.
I knew that because we both couldn't be angry because I had a temper.
Yeah. Oh, it was many a days where you don't remember what I used to tell you all the time? Mm-hmm. If I act like you act, we'll burn this house down.
Mm-hmm. Immature.
We both couldn't be mad.
Since I'm over here, can
not right now.
Give us one. Give us 1 minute. Thank you for the water. So yeah, I don't know if it was because you mostly grew up in the house without a male figure in the house.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's what I was saying.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was saying I didn't want to leave you because every time we would go somewhere, like even that time we went out of town to see Terry and stuff.
Yeah.
And so me and Angel was in wherever, in the hotel or with sister, whatever her name is. And I think you stayed by Terry.
Yeah, I was at Terry house.
At Terry house. So, but every time we would have to go somewhere, we always had to split up, and it was just agony. It was really like torture because I was like, that's the only place of peace that I have. And I just didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. And so when we did get married, I remember like, oh Lord, like I'm gonna be in the house. You mean like I'm gonna be in the place with this man? Like what I was so excited about finally not leaving you, I didn't consider all of the realistic side of it. Like
right.
You really do have to live with this person.
And it's a big part of a person's personality that you will never know until you have to live with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the hard part about getting married, man. It really is.
But I think those were my top 3. God, anger, trust. How do you handle anger? Can I trust you? And what's your relationship with God like?
That's good because I had insecurities about leaving my job and not being able to take care of you. And because I remember my mama telling me when I moved back to DeQuincy, I said, Mama, I'm fixing to get married. I want to get married. And she was like, how are you going to get married? She said, you living with me. She said, you don't even, have a steady job and you living with me right now. And I was just like, I doubled down. I was like, I'm getting married. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know what God was going to work out. I just knew that it was time, and it was that time in my life to make that commitment and do whatever I needed to do to marry you. Mm-hmm. And so, job got a little steadier, made a little bit more money, still wasn't enough. you know, moved out moved out from, you know, my mom's house. And actually I didn't move out of
Nope.
the first house we had was the first house we had together. I was, after we got married, we were both moving in a new house. I was moving out of my mom's house and she was moving out of her mom's house. You know, excuse me. And so, man, we've been through a lot, babe.
But you had already lived on your own before. I had never lived on
Yes.
my own.
Yeah.
So it was still like, it was just a.
I had been living on my own for years, since I was 18. We got married at what, 27?
21.
Yeah, you was 21, I was 27. Yeah, I was almost 28.
I had just
I'd have
turned
been
20.
28.
I had turned 21 on the day we got married. So yeah, it was really like, it was a lot to learn in a short amount of time. Cause after that, 2 years later, here come Kaylin.
Yeah, yeah.
So
how poor we was.
Oh,
we was poor. We wasn't poor. We was poor.
We was poor.
Our first anniversary.
Oh yeah.
Our 1 year anniversary. We didn't have the money to go out on a date.
Nope.
She was in school full time.
Yep.
I was working full time. I was the only income. I was making like $9.65 an hour, working security at one of the plants here, and just barely had enough money to make ends meet. But we was happy for the most part, and we had a lot of good times. But on our first anniversary, we sat down, man, with a box of chicken from Popeyes
chicken
and some red beans and rice.
So did.
And we had our little dinner with the little chicken, and then we pulled our we saved our cake. Remember we had our cake?
Yep.
We saved our little wedding cake in the freezer for that whole year. And we thawed out our wedding cake.
Yep.
And ate our little wedding cake to celebrate our anniversary. And
that's crazy.
That's all we could do.
On that little table that we had got out of your
that little bitty table, man.
Out of your grandfather's house.
That's all we had. That's all we could do.
Yeah. That's crazy.
At least we was together though, baby. We was together.
Yeah, that's all I had always wanted.
Yeah, we was together. You know? It's our hopes that it can always be helpful. It can always be real conversations, you know, that real people have concerning marriage, concerning church, concerning religion, concerning children, finances, all of the above, whatever topics, and also if you guys have anything that y'all want us to talk about, like any questions that y'all have for us, whether they be personal questions or questions about your marriage or your family or any kind of about your church, about your church home, or if you're looking for a church home or whatever the case may be, leave questions down in the comments. Comments down in the comments, and we'll try to include those in our broadcasts. What do you call these?
Videos.
We call them videos.
Yay.
Broadcast. That's what old people say, huh?
Yeah, a broadcast.
You're old. You know. You're old. You don't even know what videos are called.
So this ain't a broadcast?
You have to ask her what videos
Wait, baby,
were called.
you about to hit the camera.
You have to ask her what videos were called. You old.
So I should always say videos, not broadcast?
No, it's videos.
You're not broadcasting that.
We are not in the 19th century.
I have been corrected. You got anything else, babe?
Nope.
You finished?
Yep.
Now, if you want
What's
to
wrong?
listen to him, you'll
Nope.
have to have the patience
You done?
to wait for him to
You
figure
finished
out
or
what
you
to
done?
call stuff. That's very cool.
You finished or you done, babe?
Both.
All right. Signing off. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
There we go. All right, we back.
So